Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
MMA Weekly with Austin, Chef Dan. I am Austin in a different location than usual. This is a co-host, Chef Dan. How you doing today, Chef Dan?
Salute to you, Austin. Salute to everyone joining us. Thank you guys so much, whether you're joining us on YouTube or through the audio platforms. Thank you guys so much as we are about to discuss a whirlwind of MMA events that's gone down and that are about to go down. But how you doing, Austin, yourself? I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Like I said, location in my room on my laptop, so it's a little bit different. You know, just getting used to the whole dynamic, and yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, my birthday's coming up in a couple more days, so looking forward to that.
That's awesome, man. That's very, very awesome. Salute to you, and we're already going to wish you a happy early birthday, but you know we're going to wish you one on the day of, so that's awesome. And I don't know if you want to get into it, but we can get right into it as to what happened this past weekend when our girl, Erin Blanchfield, took on and defeated Jessica Andrade in the main event. And she has climbed up now to become potentially, could it be flyweight contender, number one flyweight contender for the title? Am I wrong for saying that, Austin? What say you?
No, you're not wrong. It's a fair assessment considering Andrade was on at least a 3-fight win streak, and she had won her last fight, a month ago against Lauren Murphy in Brazil, where she just destroyed Lauren Murphy. I mean, just outclassed her, and yet she goes out there and beats Andrade. She would have been on the roll. Short notice, but still, I mean, both females are short notice, and she did a good job. I mean, the first round she stood with Andrade, which is crazy considering Andrade is known to be probably the most powerful puncher in the 115, 125 division of all the females. And she stood with her and did well. She was, especially early in the first round, like the first half of the first round, she was out striking her, hitting her, really picking her apart striking wise. Second half, Andrade was starting to figure out and land some shots that did hurt on Blanchfield. But Blanchfield was, even despite that, Blanchfield was still picking apart Andrade and still landing and striking wise. It was kind of surprising to see, strike with Andrade, but she showcased that she can do pretty well in the stand-up department. Then the second round, she's able to get a nice outside trip in the clinch, and then from there she was able to get a rear naked choke. Even though some of that I believe was, on Andrade, because Blanchfield did what she's supposed to do and saw Andrade make a mistake and capitalize on it, which is good fight IQ from Blanchfield. Andrade, I don't know why she left her neck open like that. Just getting up, leaving her neck way too open. Someone of her fighting experience and who's got a good background in grappling. Surprised she made that big of a mistake. But Blanchfield did what she was supposed to do, capitalize on Andrade and submit her. I mean, Blanchfield looked good regardless. Her striking looked good. She showcased that her grappling still is probably maybe the best in all of the strawweight. I mean, not strawweight. Excuse me, flyweight division. And after what she did, you can make an argument she's next for the title fights. You could make the argument. I mean, I can't blame the UFC. They went that route. If Valentina does retain against Alex Grassos, because that's a big if. Because if Grassos can win, the whole division is shaken up. You can't ignore that fact. Considering Valentina's about to fight, and next Saturday she's about to fight, defend her belt.
Yeah, absolutely right. That does shake up the division, but salute and all to Erin Blanchfield on the victory against Jessica Andrade. Although we do have to mention once again that Andrade took this fight on short notice. We saw that she was, she had a match roughly a month ago. So as much as people want to say, oh, well, you just had a fight, so you kind of just came through training camp. You got to, what people don't take into account is there's a recovery time. There's really a recovery time when you really don't want the person taking that much strikes. And really, this isn't a sport where you get better in the ring. You actually get worse and you shave off, years of your life in that octagon as you continue to do the dance. So salute to Erin Blanchfield nonetheless. She was able to secure that victory. It was an awesome victory for her.
I agree. And like I said, if they don't do the Valentina fight next, let's say, I heard Talia Santos try to do that fight again. Wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, that's actually I wouldn't mind that fight. Her and Talia Santos, because that's what it was originally supposed to be. And this how do I say it? This result versus Andrade doesn't change my want to see that matchup.
I agree, it doesn't. And if Blanchfield really could beat Talia Santos and really take her down, I mean, at that point she's undeniable for a title fight. But that acts a good matchup if she doesn't get the Valentina fight, because you also got Mion Fjord still in the top of the rankings, and they are going to France later on this year. And I could see Mion Fjord getting a title fight, especially if they're going to Paris in September, August.
Absolutely. So just want to once again shout out to Erin Blanchfield. I remember when we interviewed her, this is what she said. It's not going to be rapid, but give her about a year and some time and she'll be in the title contendership. And woman of her word, she's here in the title picture. And I love that. She's a woman with the goal and she's heading for it. So just want to say that. Want to also congratulate Zach Palga, Jamal Pogues, Marcin Pranchnio, and Alexander Hernandez, all on, but a lot of these guys in the main card and some in the preliminaries were able to gain some victories against some game opponents. And this was overall a very, very good card.
Exactly. Congrats to the victors for their victory. Just want to say that. My apologies.
Yeah, go ahead. With that being said, we can move on to what's happening this Saturday. It's a big, big one. In the light heavyweight division, where our headline is Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann. Both of these guys are really good strikers. Krylov, though, I think he can mix it up better than Spann. But Spann's power is different. This one's a big toss-up to me, man. As much as I want to say Krylov would be my favorite, this one's a bit of a toss-up to me. What do you say, Austin?
I'm leaning towards Krylov. I understand why it's a toss-up and why Spann has a good shot of beating Krylov because of power, and also Spann mentioned that he's taking his career more seriously. he mentioned his last fight against Dominic Reyes back in November that was the first camp he actually trained for. And if that's true, and he is actually now training, unlike previously, and we're getting a better version of Spann. Spann's dangerous, but I think Krylov, you mentioned it, can mix the martial arts more, can do more, and also I think the competition he's fought is been a little bit better than Spann's. I mean, going back to 2019, he did beat. He didn't beat. Excuse me. He lost to Glover Teixeira in a split decision fight. And this is when Glover is, going up, climb up to the rankings, getting that title. And also, he's got a victory over Gustafsson, which I know Gustafsson's. I mean, I understand people can say, well, Gustafsson was coming off a long layoff. Fair enough. But then we did the Uzdemir, and Aaron Uzdemir at times, he's not the easiest guy to take down. He took him down in their fight back in October. I just think Krylov's on the road. Krylov's been in the UFC for a while, and now he's finally putting everything together. And it looks like he's finally emerging as a guy who could be in that top of that lightweight division. And then you got Spann, who's also surging himself and it's come off that impressive knockout victory over Dominic Reyes back in November, like I said. And sorry about that, Amy. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick the table. My computer screen there was shaking. But I'm gonna go. Spann is dangerous. If Spann catches Krylov early in the first round, he can really do damage to Krylov. But I think Krylov can mix the martial arts better, and he's a guy who can be dangerous too. And I think I can see Krylov mixing the martial arts against Spann in the first round. I think he gets Spann in the first round. Spann will slow down, which will lead to an easier fight for Krylov. I think if Krylov wins, it's probably gonna be. I think it'll be a decision or later round stoppage, and that's what I'm leaning towards. Although I can see Spann knocking him out.
All right. So Austin's got Krylov winning this via a tactician's war, mixing in the martial arts and kind of holding down Spann and negating that power. I'm in total agreement with you there and seeing that fight. I see the way you see that fight happening. It's just that when you do something like that, you got to get close to a guy, and Ryan Spann isn't a guy that's just swinging for the fences. Sometimes he has really good technique in the way he approaches his boxing and striking. So, like you said, that this one's Krylov is a favorite, but I can see Spann finishing this. There's also another fight on this card that you brought to my attention is very, very important. It's not the co-main event, but it should be, based on the opponent, the class of opponent in here. Tatiana Suarez versus Montana De La Rosa. Talk to me, Austin. Tell me what you want to see from Tatiana Suarez coming off of this long layoff here.
I just want to see a little bit of what she used to be. I mean, if you remember, people were jokingly calling her a female Habib because the way she would just take girls down, just dominate the grappling, dominate them with wrestling like Habib would do in the men's division, 155. And I just want to see a little bit of that again for Tatiana Suarez. Just showcase her wrestling and her, hopefully she get to shake the cobwebs off, considering she hasn't fought in like 3 years actually. I think it's been 3 years. Yeah, 3 years since he's fought. At least 3 years, yeah, and injuries and all that's unfortunately cost us 3 years of her career, which I believe if she wasn't injured, she might have been the 115 champion, not just me. Well, she's moving up to 125, and if Tatiana Suarez can showcase any bit of her old self in this division, she's a girl, in my opinion, who, if she gets 3 fights by the end of this year, could be in the rankings and not far off from a title picture. That's just me. And I think, I'm very high on Tatiana Suarez. I've always been high on her since before the injuries, and there's a chance to reintroduce herself to the UFC fans and remind everyone why everyone's so high on her. And I think she has a good chance of doing that against, this Saturday. Not gonna be easy because she hasn't fought in 3 years, so she could be a little shaky. But I still think Tatiana Suarez will win the fight.
All right, man. I'm in agreement with you there, but it is going to be dangerous. I think this fight is not going to be as action-packed as people would want it to be. It's going to be a bit slow because once, that layoff, getting in that layoff, some people are instantaneously, as soon as they get in the octagon, it's like they never left. And then others, it just takes a while. You can see it. It's like, all right, she's not taking advantage, or he or she is not taking advantage of the opportunity that's in front of them right there. And we know that they usually do so. So that's a big that's a big thing to see. I'm looking forward to that one right there. That is a big fight. I'm excited for it. But all in all, this card happening this Saturday at 4. Well, I think the preliminary start at 4 p.m. This is going to be a good one. Like we said, Nikita Krylov versus Ryan Spann is the main event. Co-main event, you have Andre Muniz versus Brendan Allen. You also have Augustus Sakai versus Dante Mays. The fight we just mentioned, Tatiana Suarez versus Montana De La Rosa. You also have Mike Malott versus Johan Leonese. So it's a lot of good fighters on this card. A lot of interesting fights. It's a lot of fighters that you can see trying to make a name for themselves. It's early in the year, so if you want a contender for knockout of the year, these are the type of cards that you want to tune into, because these cards leave the greatest of impact in our minds coming down the year. With that being said, we didn't get to talk about it. The result already happened, so we have to talk about it. Islam Makhachev versus Alexander Volkanovski. There's two big questions that happened in the world of MMA within this fight. So I just want to ask you first off, Austin, did you think the decision went to the right man?
No. I honestly thought Volk won the fight, personally. I think I thought Volk won 3 rounds to 2. That's just personally. I thought Volk did enough to beat Islam. I feel like Volk did. Even though I understand, Islam, I understand Islam didn't, it was close. It wasn't like it was a blow. It wasn't like this was like clear cut, so 100% obvious, like victor. It wasn't like a Dominic Reyes, John Jones situation. But I thought Volk won the fight, personally.
Okay. The second question is, with the decision, do you think it was right that UFC kept Volk as the pound for pound?
Yeah, yes, because I thought Volk won the fight. And to me, if I think Volk won the fight, I think he should keep his pound for pound status. I mean, I understand why people say no, because Islam won. If Islam wins, he should be number 1. I mean, he's the winner of the fight. Yeah, I get that, but I don't know. I mean, does that let me know something about the UFC, that they don't agree with the decision? The fact that Volkanovski is still number 1. I mean, it could mean that, or maybe they were so impressed the fact this guy went up to weight class and did so well against Islam, better than probably anyone has done against Islam, that are rewarding that. I mean, could be a combination of the two things I mentioned. But yeah, I mean, I think he should stay pound for pound number 1. But I get why people say, well, if Islam won the fight, he should be number 1. He won, and that's a fair point too, if you believe he won.
All right. My thoughts, I thought the decision went to the right man. I thought Islam truly won that fight. There were a lot of moments where people thought his stand-up game wasn't going to be as good as Volkanovski, but there were a lot of moments in the earlier rounds where his striking, it wasn't as clean as Volkanovski, but the impact was more than Volkanovski. There were a couple of times where he downed Volkanovski, or got Volkanovski to, just reconfigure himself in the striking. And in the grappling, I know Islam wasn't as dominant as people thought he should have been. But there was that moment in the 5th round that Volkanovski was able to turn it around. But for a majority of the fight, Islam was able to do what he wanted with him in the grappling game. So I likened it something to a Colby Covington, where we've seen Colby Covington do something like this and end up the victor because he's able to just stay on top and do what he wants. Islam, for the majority of the fight, was able to do what he wanted. So I thought the decision went to the right man. And in regards to the pound for pound, I didn't agree with them keeping Volkanovski with the pound for pound, because if Volk won the fight like most people thought he did, that doesn't mean that Islam gets to hold on to the championship. That's where that's my biggest gripe, is that, you know, if you're gonna keep him pound for pound, then at the very least, like, you're telling me that if Islam lost the fight, you wouldn't have taken the championship off of him. That's where it just doesn't make sense to me, because what's the inverse of that decision, or what's the, you know, you understand what I'm saying in regards to what I say, the inverse of that decision. What goes the other way for that decision? So that's just my biggest thing on that. And to end this off, you said you wanted to talk about the one championship card that's coming up.
Yes, there's a one championship card coming up, I believe well, it's gonna be like early in the morning here in America, because it's in Asia. It's in, I believe, Thailand. The fight's taking place, and I want to talk the main event of that card is John Lineker, former UFC veteran, guy who was the bantamweight champion, taking on Mauricio Andrade in a rematch. Now, the first fight happened in October, and unfortunately ended no contest because Andrade accidentally low blow Lineker, and Lineker couldn't continue. So they're running it back, and Lineker has a chance to get his belt back, considering he got stripped of his belt going into the first fight because he missed weight. And John Lineker has always been a guy he's a guy that fans love. He's always an exciting fighter, one of the more exciting fighters in that bantamweight division, going back to his UFC days. And this is a chance to get his belt back against Mauricio Andrade, who's a good technical striker, who can be a good striker, but the thing is, Lineker has the experience factor, and I do want to see if the experience factor can overwhelm Andrade, or if Andrade can maybe after fighting Lineker the first time, maybe adjust better, and maybe go out there and get the one championship, the one bantamweight championship, and go out and basically be one of the more recognizable names in MMA, John Lineker, a guy who, in my opinion, is still one of the best bantamweights in the world. Despite fighting in one championship, one bantamweight division is pretty good. And I'm excited for this fight. It's going to be taking place on Saturday early in the morning in the United States. So we're because like I said, it's in Thailand, and it should be a very good fight. And John Lineker fights are never boring, so it should be exciting fights. And do want to give him a shout out. So I am looking forward to that. Anytime Lineker fights, it's exciting for me. I do look forward to that. So yeah, definitely check it out. Check it out this Saturday. One championship. I believe is it on Amazon Prime? I think it's on Amazon. Yeah, it's on Amazon Prime.
They do have a partnership with Amazon Prime, and so it will be on Amazon Prime. Salute to One for doing that deal with Amazon and being able to get their product into America. Yeah,
and especially considering they're going to America in May with Demetrius Johnson and Adrian Moraes 3. So it's getting Amazon, getting their show product in America, and then going to the United States in May. Good job for One for doing that. So give them a shout there. I just want to mention that briefly, and also briefly mention this, just briefly. Bellator 291, Yaroslav Amosov versus Logan Story 2 for the welterweight championship as a rematch, considering Amosov did win the first fight back in 2020, and now Story's won every fight since, and they're going to be fighting Saturday, 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific on Showtime. Should be a good fight, especially considering the first fight was entertaining. It was a strike. Amosov won because of striking matchup, so interesting to see how much Story's improved in his striking since that fight. And also, how's Amosov look? Because Amosov has been in Ukraine fighting the war against Russia mostly, and he's only been back in training for the last couple of months. So what kind of Amosov do you get? You get a Amosov who's doing well prior to the war in Ukraine, or an Amosov who's slowed down maybe, and Story can capitalize. Definitely something to watch out for. Just want to mention those things briefly. And anything else you want to mention, Dan?
It's just can't wait. There is a certain UFC card that we want to talk about, but we're not going to talk about it now because in due time, all things get their time. So in due time, we'll talk about it. But I'm excited, man. We're back. We haven't done the show in a while. We've just, real life has been kicking our ass. Real life has been kicking our ass. So thank you guys for being patient with us. And please, we'll try to get these out in timely fashion and just try and, find newer and fresher ways to discuss the MMA sport, because at the end of the day, we're all fans and we just want to, we just want to talk about it. That's all we want to do. We just want to talk about it. We just want to have a friend to talk to about it as well. So thank you guys so much for bearing with us. Thank you guys so much for supporting us through and through all this time and building a BX Sports Jedi network. Thank you so much.
Exactly. Thank you guys for building this networks and the channel. Thank you guys for the support you give us. And like Dan said, life has been kicking our asses. It is a trash, man. I couldn't say it better myself, honestly. But we do want to give you guys a show and you give fresh takes on MMA and talk about it, because we're just fans who love the sport, like all y'all. And we just want to talk about it, and we appreciate the love and support you guys give us and this channel, because without you guys, this channel ain't nothing. We're nothing without you guys. So thank you guys so much for watching us and listening to us, and we appreciate the love and support, and can't wait to watch these fights, and they should be good fights to talk about, and I'm excited. Like I said, busy MMA weekend, and then of course next weekend's a big weekend, which we'll talk about next week, obviously. And thank you guys for the love and support. Yeah, exactly, in due time. And thank you guys for the love and support. Appreciate it. And anything else you want to mention before we say goodbye?
Nope. Just don't let life kick your ass. Let's go.
Exactly. I'm Austin Shepton. Have a good day, good night. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are